How we doing, everyone? How we doing? Man, what a game. What a game. Dodgers lose to the Cubs 9-7. Probably up there for most exciting Dodgers game of the season so far, I would say. I know a lot of people weren't up for that game a couple weeks ago in Korea when there was like 25 runs scored, but this is definitely probably the most exciting game so far. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the live stream. I'm going to be doing a lot of these during the season, following a lot of Dodgers games. So if you're brand new, make sure to go over to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. That way, every time we go live, you guys can join the live stream. I'm live on Twitter right now. I'm not sure if there's like a Twitter chat where you guys can leave your thoughts on the game, leave your comments. If you can't, head on over to the YouTube page. That way you're able to leave comments. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the game because there's a lot of talk about there. A couple of players that I really want to share my thoughts on with this game. So again, I'd love to hear from you guys. So if you're able to on Twitter, hit me up in that live chat. If not, head on over to YouTube. You guys can find my channel. Let me know your thoughts on today's game and a couple of these players we're going to be talking to because there's a lot to talk about because the Dodgers, they did lose 9-7 today. Overall, a fantastic showing from the offense. Anytime you score 7 runs in a game, you should win most of the time. But unfortunately for the Dodgers, it seems like every time they score 7 runs this year, they're on the losing end. I tweeted this out. The Dodgers are pretty much averaging 8 runs a game in all 3 of their losses. So although the offense is showing up on a consistent basis every game, the pitching has kind of been their downfall, and that was the case today. So we'll start out with Bobby Miller. This one was rough because Bobby Miller, if you guys are watching the game, an insane first inning. An insane first inning from Bobby Miller. Comes out, strikes out the side, looks exactly the way he did in his last out. And I'm thinking, man, this is going to be another great Bobby Miller start where he probably gives the Dodgers 5 to 6 innings, has a lot of strikeouts because he looked unhittable in that first inning. Well, the second inning comes, he allows a home run to Dansby Swanson, and everything just completely fell apart. Bobby Miller looked like a totally different pitcher in that second inning after he allowed that home run. I think he ended up throwing, I want to say, 42 pitches in that second inning, and he just could not get anybody out. So Bobby Miller, his final line for the day, 1 2/3 innings, 5 earned runs, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts. I think I saw a tweet somewhere that I think he had like 4 or 5 swing and misses in the first inning on his like 15 pitches. In the second inning alone, I think I saw he had only 2 whiffs. So Bobby Miller just did not have his best stuff today. That does suck considering I think I heard he had like 30 friends and family in attendance today, and it was his 25th birthday, and he got absolutely lit up. So Bobby Miller, that's my one concern with him. He does show flashes like we saw last week and like we saw in the first inning, where he looks like a Cy Young caliber pitcher. He looks like a guy that can be an ace. But as we saw in that postseason game in October, once things start to unravel for Bobby Miller, they start to unravel really quickly. So hopefully this is going to be a learning experience for him. Hopefully he's able to build off that. And again, it's just really tough because I was really looking forward to this Bobby Miller start today. And after that first inning, boy, things just completely fell apart. So if you guys are just tuning in right now, make sure to hit me up in the live chat. We're live on Twitter. We're also live on YouTube. If you guys haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. The link is somewhere in my Twitter page. You guys can find it. Just go on YouTube and search Thinking Blue with Blake Harris. A lot of live streams coming during the regular season. So we're going to be talking a lot of Dodgers baseball. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about the team so far up until this point and your thoughts about today's game. Because Trey over on YouTube says, does Michael Grove have options? If so, option his ass to AAA and call up Knack or Hurt ASAP, please. Yeah, I had a couple of tweets about this today in regards to Michael Grove. If you've missed them, let me just read these out for you because Michael Grove, among pitchers with at least 100 innings thrown in Dodgers history, Michael Grove has a 6.23 ERA. That is the worst in Dodgers history. So among every pitcher out there for the Dodgers that has thrown at least 100 innings, Michael Grove's ERA is the worst. I think his ERA on the season, looking at the box score, it's now just below 12. I don't know what the reason is that the Dodgers continue to keep Michael Grove on the roster and have Kyle Hurt in the minors. I tweeted this about a week ago saying the only reason Kyle Hurt should be spending any time in Oklahoma City this year is if he's visiting friends in November. That should be the only time Kyle Hurt is spending in Oklahoma City because I truly believe he is one of the best relievers or just one of the best overall pitchers on the Dodgers. We saw it the other night when he pitched in Oklahoma City. He led the entire AAA, all of AAA in whiffs. I think he had 14 swing and misses. He only pitched 2 innings. There's no reason Kyle Hurts should be in the minors right now, and there's no reason that Michael Grove should be in the majors. It'd be one thing if it was a small sample size. He's been bad this year. He's been bad every year he's been with the Dodgers, and essentially that's the reason they lost today. Now, Bobby Miller certainly didn't help. There was a defensive miscue by Teoscar Hernandez that allowed a couple runs to score, but Michael Grove came in and he pretty much let the game get away. So hopefully he gets sent down sooner rather than later. The Dodgers can bring back Kyle Hurt. But I don't know. There's some reason. There's some reason that the Dodgers continuously give Michael Grove an opportunity. Hopefully that's not the case. As you know, right here, Teoscar messed up defensively. Like I said, it was a tough play. Teoscar did kind of fumble it, but if we're being honest with ourselves, based on how that inning was already going, those runs were going to come in at some point either way. So yeah, we need to figure that whole situation out. That Cubs defense is elite. I'll give it to them. Still should have won this, but it's okay. Washington take the next 2 games. Can anyone out there remember a game defensively from an opposing team that had this many Gold Glove caliber plays? I mean, just off the top of my head, there were 4 just insane defensive plays in the infield. This was insane. I mean, Michael Busch, of course, ends the game with a diving play at first. How fitting. But the Cubs defense today was freaking insane. I mean, hats off to them. They played the better game. They were the better team on all sides of the ball, but defensively, they had some plays, and they weren't, plays with nobody on. They were plays with runners on base. So had the Cubs not made all those plays defensively, the Dodgers are probably winning this game. So the fact that they scored 7 runs, the Cubs had a lot of crazy defensive plays, and the Dodgers still had their opportunity at the very end. That just goes to show how good of a team this is. But yeah, I mean, again, tip your hat to the Cubs because defensively, that's one of the better games that I can remember in quite some time because it was absolutely insane. So if you guys are tuning in right now, whether you're on Twitter or whether on YouTube, welcome. We're doing a live stream right now talking about today's game. We're going to be doing a lot of these over the course of the season. So if you're new here, whether you're watching on Twitter or on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you're notified every time we go live following every game. I'm also posting a lot of great Dodgers content this year as well. So if you're a Dodgers fan, if you follow me on Twitter, I'd greatly appreciate if you went over to my YouTube account, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. And if you're watching right now, hit me up in the live chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say about today's game. It was a crazy one. It was a fun back and forth game. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitter, I think there's a live chat thing for you somewhere. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And again, let's talk about today's game. The bottom of the lineup, sheesh. Yeah, I tweeted this the other night as well. But the bottom of the Dodgers lineup, regardless of who they're putting out there, it has been horrific. I mean, I tweeted this out today saying essentially it's pretty remarkable that the Dodgers offense has been historically as good as they've been, considering you have 3 pitchers hitting at the bottom of your lineup. Now, when I say 3 pitchers hitting at the bottom of your lineup, I'm talking about James Outman, who currently has a 424 OPS, Chris Taylor, who's hitting 071 with a 387 OPS, and Gavin Lux, who's hitting 172 with a 433 OPS. 3 guys at the bottom of your lineup that have an OPS below 500. Now, I get it. It's a small sample size. We're, I think, 10 games? 10 games into the season, so I'm not going to hit the panic button just yet. James Outman, he's the one I'm least concerned about because we saw him look really solid last year in his rookie year. I think he had like a WRC plus of around 115, 120 or so. And plus, James Outman was one of the better hitters for the Dodgers during spring training. And James Outman has also gotten really unlucky these last couple of games. He has a lot of hard hit balls that are just finding gloves for out. So James Outman is the one I'm not that big concerned about. Chris Taylor, as Trey says right here, Chris Taylor has looked awful. I mean, he has looked awful at the plate this season. He didn't look great during spring, and last year there were times where he looked really bad as well. I think overall he ended up finishing with pretty decent numbers. Had like an OPS plus of right about 100. His OPS was pretty solid, but Chris Taylor has looked really, really bad so far to start the season. And Gavin Lux at the bottom. He's had a couple of at-bats recently. Umpires aren't doing him any favors, but Gavin Lux, this is a guy I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Again, 10 games over the course of the regular season, but if you include his spring training stats, Gavin Lux has about 100 plate appearances under his belt now, and I think he has 2 extra base hits. One was a home run that came in the Freeway Series right before the season started. That was his best at bat of the year. The other was a double from the other night. it was a bloop single that he was able to turn into a double because of his speed. So props to him for that. But Gavin Lux now 100 plate appearances, and we've seen essentially nothing. It's either he's hitting a weak grounder to second base or he's striking out. We'll give him more time. I mean, obviously, he's still coming back from that ACL injury. He didn't play it all last year. I get it. We'll give him another month or so. But 100 plate appearances is not a small sample size. So my concern with Gavin Lux is probably the highest among all the guys at the bottom of the lineup. But 7 through 9, these guys got to figure out at some point because the top of the Dodgers lineup is playing at a historic pace right now. Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, all of those guys, I think pretty much have OPSs either above 1,000 or just below. They're going to cool off at some point. Those 5 guys are going to cool off at some point, and when they do, if the bottom of the lineup is not producing at all or they're currently doing what they're doing now, then the Dodgers are going to be in some bit of trouble because they're doing all this offense with essentially 5 guys. Max Muncy's had a couple of ABs here and there that have been nice, but Max Muncy's also kind of struggling as well. His strikeout rate is close to 50%. He's a little concerning as well, but yeah, the bottom of the lineup, man, not ideal. Not ideal. Again, if you guys are just tuning into the live stream right now, hit me up in the live chat, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on YouTube. I want to hear your thoughts on today's game. Also, if you have any thoughts about the Dodgers in general, just like this one right here, thoughts on a potential Luis Arraez deal, I want to hear all about it. We're going to be live for the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. We may go a little bit longer, depending on how many people tune in and, hit me up with some questions, but this is something I have not seen thrown out there at any point yet. I know there was that report from The Athletic the other day that the Marlins might potentially be sellers because they've, I think, gone off to like an 0-8 start. In that article, it did link the Padres. They said they were potentially interested. I don't know what their level of interest is currently, but hey, if the Dodgers want to make a call on Luis Arraez, I forget exactly what his contract looks like. I know Luis Arraez has gotten off to a slow start this season. I don't think the Dodgers necessarily need to make that move because I don't know I'm sure it would be a pretty hefty price as well for a Luis Arraez. The Dodgers don't necessarily need him, and essentially if you're acquiring him, I think that's going to make Mookie Betts your everyday shortstop moving forward, which I still think should not happen. I know Mookie wants to be playing shortstop, but a long-term picture, I just don't want to see Mookie at shortstop. But hey, I mean, if he wants to do it, that's his deal. But I think there's a bigger deal in place if you're going to make a deal with the Marlins. As Trey says right here, give me Tanner Scott, please, maybe Luzardo. I think Tanner Scott is the obvious call. If the Marlins are in sell mode, the Dodgers should be all over Tanner Scott. I mean, we clearly need a left-handed reliever badly because as of right now, the only option really is Alex Vesia because Ryan Yarbrough is going to be a Ross Stripling, Mitch White kind of guy that's going to give you multiple innings. If they can acquire Tanner Scott, by all means do it. Again, I don't know what exactly that's going to cost. I'm not exactly certain how much that's going to cost the Dodgers, but if the Marlins, if they're willing to sell players, if they're in listening mode, there's zero reason for them to keep a lefty reliever if they're completely going to be rebuilding. So again, if I'm Andrew Friedman, who knows? Maybe he's already had a couple of phone calls with the Marlins. Maybe they're discussing it. But yeah, I think a Tanner Scott, I think that would be fantastic. That would be quite the addition for the Dodgers, whose bullpen desperately needs it. Because I don't know what kind of left-handed relievers are going to be available at the trade deadline if we get to that point. If there are any available, the price is going to be pretty high. This may be the cheapest price you're able to get one of these guys. So hit up the Marlins, see if they're willing to work out a deal. And hey, if you're able to get Luis Arraez, have him as your number 7 hitter or so, I think that'd be okay. I mean, again, they don't necessarily need him, but if Luis Arraez, all right, even better, I'm just spitballing here for the hell of it because why not? Let's just be our own GM. Acquire Luis Arraez and have him be your number 9 hitter. Now, I know it's insane. You're not going to have the batting champion hitting 9th in your lineup, but with how stacked the top of the Dodger lineup is, I don't know who you're necessarily pushing down. Have him essentially as like a leadoff hitter 2.0. I think that'd be fun. Have him as your number 9 hitter. Flip over the lineup with Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani hitting behind him. Again, that'd be a lot of fun. Not going to happen, but hey, that's why we can have dream scenarios and be general managers of our own. Miguel Vargas is tearing it up in AAA, gaining confidence. He'll be up in mid-May. Miguel Vargas, it's still too early to say because he only, I think, has like 100 plate appearances or so, maybe a couple more in the big leagues. I just don't know if he's ever going to cut it in the big leagues because when he was up, he looked bad. He had one stretch last year where I think he had a 2 or 3 week stretch where he was pretty solid, but for the most part, he's been really bad. We've seen it before with Miguel Vargas in the past, with Michael Busch in the past. All these guys are able to just tear it up down there in AAA. They're able to post insane numbers. I think as of right now, Miguel Vargas is like hitting above 400. His OPS is like 1,300 or something like that. That's great and all. Can he do it in the show? Now, I think you're saying here he'll be up in mid-May. I thought with Jason Hayward going on the injured list, bringing up Miguel Vargas now to get a shot would have been the prime opportunity. I get wanting to have a left-handed bat in Taylor Trammell, so that's why they opted for him instead of Miguel Vargas. I feel like we're probably going to need an injury to someone else, maybe like an injury to a Gavin Lux, or maybe like an injury to a Miguel Rojas, because the Dodger outfield depth is so solid. I don't think Miguel Vargas would be coming up as an outfielder, even though he's been playing a lot out there. But that's going to be interesting because Miguel Vargas, he's showing it still in AAA right now. The dude can mash. It's just a matter of can he mash up here. I still want to give him a couple more opportunities because, again, he's a young player, still very, very inexperienced, not a whole lot of big league games under his belt. And there is a chance that he can come up here. He can post an OPS plus of 110 or so. I mean, that's the thing. The Dodgers, they don't need him to be the kind of player that they were expecting a couple of years ago. He doesn't need to come up and be an all-star caliber player by any means. Would it be great? Would it be ideal? I mean, 100% it would be. That'd be fantastic. But if Miguel Vargas can come up, post an OPS plus of around 110, draw a couple of walks, play solid defense, whether it's in left field, at second base, wherever, I think that would be really beneficial for the Dodgers. When's that going to happen? Is he going to get the opportunity? I'm not exactly certain because, again, it's going to require an injury for Miguel Vargas to get his opportunity. But I still think there's something there. I still think he's got a lot of potential. Give him a couple more opportunities, and if you call him up, 50, 60 plate appearances, things still aren't looking great, well, he might just be a depth piece moving forward. But I still think Miguel Vargas has a lot of potential. Again, if you guys are tuning in right now, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitter, hit me up in the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on the Dodgers through the first 10 games of the season. Let me know your thoughts on today's game. There's still a couple of things I want to hit on from today's game. But again, leave me a comment in that live stream. And again, if you guys haven't done so yet, head on over to my YouTube page. It's in the description somewhere, I think, on my Twitter page. Or you can just go to YouTube, type in Thinking Blue with Blake Harris. Make sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications. I just started the YouTube channel a month ago, trying to build it. We're going to be doing a lot of these live streams as the season goes on. So again, if you guys haven't done so yet, subscribe to the YouTube channel and drop a comment in the live chat in regards to today's game. So far we talked about Michael Grove. We talked about him getting lit up today. We talked about Bobby Miller getting lit up today. We talked about the bottom of the Dodgers lineup being horrific and something that needs to change. I want to give a shout out to Teoscar Hernandez, who, my goodness, this dude has been better than advertised. Through the first 10 games this year, Teoscar Hernandez, he's hitting 300, has an OPS of 999, and I tweeted this out earlier, but after having 4 RBIs today, he has 14 now to start his season. That's officially the most by any Dodgers player through their first 10 games with the team. And he just took out Manny Ramirez, so I think he had 13 RBIs through his first 10 games. Everyone here remembers that Manny Ramirez start when the Dodgers acquired him back in 2008. Teoscar Hernandez, slightly better. Slightly better. So he's been great because you have all these guys at the top of the lineup that have been doing what they always do, but having Teoscar hitting 5th and 6th, constantly bringing these guys home, he's probably, I mean, obviously Mookie Betts has probably been like the best player in baseball up until this point, but you can make the case that Teoscar Hernandez has been the most valuable because he's come up with so many guys in scoring position. He's coming up with so many guys on base, and he's delivering. If Teoscar Hernandez had only 7 RBIs this year instead of his 14, the Dodgers probably aren't 7-3. He has a couple of those wins on his belt because he is delivering when it matters most. And he almost had another hit today. I mean, he finished the game with, 3 hits? Could have been 4 hits had he just stretched it out a little and gotten that infield single to end it. So Teoscar Hernandez, he's been a pleasant surprise so far. Strikeout numbers still a little high, a little bit concerning, but if he's striking out at a 30% rate, but he's still able to post an OPS of above 1,000. He's posting a WRC plus of around 140 to 150. I think we'll take those strikeout numbers any day of the week. And another shout out I want to give is to Will Smith, who had a 4-hit day today. I think there was a graphic on Sportsnet LA during Will Smith's last at bat that he has as many 3-hit games this season they're just the first 10 games than he did all of last season. I mean, he's hitting 459, has an OPS of 1,056. Will Smith, he got that extension. He could have just taken it a little easy to start the year. But Will Smith has been the best catcher in all of baseball to start the season, and he is looking dialed into the plate. I mean, this 10-game stretch that he's on, I don't know if I recall Will Smith ever looking better at the plate. Maybe there was a 10-game stretch over the last couple of years where he's posted better numbers, but I don't recall a 10-game stretch where Will Smith's hit essentially 500, posted an OPS above 1,000. He's looked really good. So, again, you talk about the guys like Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman. Those are the guys that get, all of the spotlight, and rightfully so. But he got Will Smith over here hitting 450. You got Teoscar Hernandez posted an OPS of 1,000, leading all of baseball in RBIs. Those two guys, I mean, I don't want to say they're underrated, but it feels like they're not getting the proper discussion that they should be getting. So, again, I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys because the Dodger offense, they're going through those first five, and they're having insane starts to the year. Do you think the Dodgers regret not signing Jordan Montgomery? Seems like they would have been all over that short-term deal he agreed to. Yeah, I was never really in on Jordan Montgomery. I think he's a solid pitcher. Is he worth, I think what he got, $25 million for one season? I don't think he's worth $25 million for one season. And you have to remember as well, the Dodgers wouldn't be paying him $25 million. They would have been paying him $25 million plus whatever that tax would have been. So it would have cost like $35 to $40 million for Jordan Montgomery. Now, at this point, since money's not an issue, I mean, I would have been okay with it. I would have been fine with adding him to the starting rotation, but I'm not too worried over them missing out on Jordan Montgomery. So maybe he proves me wrong and he's an all-star caliber pitcher this year, but I think the Dodgers were smart to stay away, not give him, $25 million and then pay the additional tax that he would have cost. This is insane, and I'm glad you brought this up right here. Shohei Ohtani, he was up in the 8th inning. He was representing the tying run. Absolutely crushes it. I think I tweeted out that he had, I think it was like 110.8 miles per hour off the bat. An expected batting average of 910. This would have been a home run at any other stadium, or if there was just no wind today. I mean, the wind at Wrigley Field, I don't know what the official data was for what the wind was looking like at Wrigley Field, but if there was no wind, this Shohei Ohtani ball would have probably gone off the scoreboard. I mean, he hit the absolute hell out of it. And again, an expected batting average of 910. And the wind just pushed it down. Now, granted, I think the wind may have helped his first home run a couple innings earlier, but this thing, like I said, that thing might have hit the scoreboard if the wind would have batted it down. And if you take a look at Shohei's expected numbers, and this was the main reason why I wasn't too concerned with his early season struggles, before today's game, I think his expected batting average was something like 325. His expected slugging percentage was like 80 points higher than what his actual slugging percentage was. He's just been really unlucky this year so far. The expected numbers are backing it up. And we're seeing this as well today. You're going to look at the box score, and you're going to see that he flew out. But given the circumstances, this probably would have been a home run had this game been played at Dodger Stadium, or like I mentioned, if there wasn't any wind at Wrigley Field today. So Shohei, I think hitting that home run the other day really made things easier on him. I think he's looking a lot more relaxed at the plate. I mean, even today, his at-bats looked a lot better than in previous games. I mean, it seemed like every at-bat he was having to start the season, he was like swinging for the fences on every pitch, and he just looked kind of lost. I think today was probably, from start to finish, the best at-bats he's had over the course of one game since the season began. So I think that home run really is going to get Shohei going. I mean, all of a sudden right now, think about how bad Shohei was to start the season. He has an OPS of 850. I think I looked it up on Fangraphs right before I came on. His WRC plus now is like 125. Considering he struggled for 10 games, and his WRC plus is like still 125, 130-ish, just imagine what it's going to look like once he starts figuring things out at the plate, once he starts going. And think about this Dodgers lineup once they start going as well, because for the most part, they're putting up all these numbers with essentially little production coming from Shohei Ohtani. I mean, he hit his second home run today, but that gives him, 6 RBIs on the season? He hasn't really been giving the Dodgers a whole lot, so once he starts going, things are going to be going absolutely crazy for the Dodgers. I'm probably going to be going for a couple more minutes, so if you guys are just tuning in right now, you guys can hit me up in the live chat, whether you're on Twitter or whether on YouTube. I believe there's some place where you could type a comment, that comes up in the live stream. I love to hear what you guys have to say about today's game, what you have to say about the Dodgers in general. If you missed today's game, it was a damn good one. The Dodgers lost 9-7. Everything went the Cubs' way. I mean, everything went the Cubs' way. They had insane defense. They had a couple of really good pitching performances, especially from Drew Smyly, who came in and was looking like prime Randy Johnson against the Dodgers. I mean, Drew Smyly struck out 5 in 2 2/3 innings. Like, every year, the Dodgers, there's that one lefty that's not an all-star caliber pitcher that just lights the Dodgers up. Whether it's Eric Lauer, whether it's Drew Smyly, whether it's whoever, the Dodgers just, there's that one random veteran lefty that they just struggle against. But overall, I mean, if you're the Dodgers and you score 7 runs, you're going to win most of those games. Things just didn't necessarily go their way today. Dinelson Lamet, he came in, pitched 1 1/3 innings, allowed a run. Vesia, didn't give a shout out to Alex Vesia yet. 2 scoreless innings today. Did issue 2 walks, so that's not ideal, but 1.80 ERA so far this season. I know he's been kind of shaky at times, but the numbers back it up. He's been pretty solid to start the year for the Dodgers. So, yeah, that is going to wrap up today's live stream. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this worked. Hopefully it was streaming on Twitter. Hopefully it was streaming on YouTube, no problem. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these as the season goes on. I don't think I'm necessarily going to be doing one at the end of every game, but at least one per series, and I'd love to do at least a couple of these every week. So again, if you're watching this on Twitter, first off, shout out to you. It means you probably follow me. You guys rock. You're awesome. But if you want to watch this over on YouTube and support my YouTube channel, head on over to YouTube, Thinking Blue with Blake Harris. You can search it over there or go to my bio. It's somewhere in my bio. I'm sure you guys can find it. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. That way you're notified every time I post a video and every time I go live on Twitter. Been doing a lot more of these this year. Want to hear from you guys. Want to interact with all you Dodgers fans because there's a lot to talk to. So again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Takes about 2 seconds to do, and it really helps the channel grow as well, and I appreciate it. For every subscriber we get, that's going to be Shohei Ohtani's WRC Plus for 2024. So, hey, if you want Shohei Ohtani to have a record-breaking WRC Plus of 500, head over to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. As always, thank you guys so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. If you follow me on Twitter, I really appreciate it as well. I love interacting with all of you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next live stream.